Okay, so I realized that I can't keep this. This has got to be the last one. So, I think what I'm going to do is put a timer on these videos. So, they'll come out like every, couple of days or whatever. So, I'll just start the episodes. And, cause I was thinking I could just put them out there like, one after the other, but but then again, I don't know. Going back to the live conversation. Okay, I won't talk about that. Let's get through the interview. So I call her and we chat on the phone, and she gives me her reason that her daughter has asthma. I'm not going to get into that. And then she said she wasn't feeling so great either. And I said, "Oh no, so she was up all night, and then she just now woken up, which is, our time is 11 o'clock, which is reasonable, if you're not feeling well and you're up with your kid all night." And so, there is that little bit of like nudge that you kind of think, is it an excuse, but I want people to know that whatever they say to me, as I'm going to trust your word. I'm going to trust, but verify, I'm not going to just, okay, we got a hawk flying over there. All right. So I'm trusting that she's not doing well. And, she didn't even have an opportunity to text me to let me know. And so at that point, like, I'm realizing that it's not anything on her. Oh, and I want to go back to when I was sitting there, I been waiting and I hadn't heard word yet. And I don't think I think it was probably after the that I'm Sitting Alone song came on. But I was thinking about time and how, no, I think it wasn't even after that. It was before it. But anyway, does it matter? I don't think so. So, yeah. So going back to just time really quick, I want to, in my business and just in my personal life, like, I want to take pressure off of people to not feel like they have to like be so rigid with their time. With me, like, I know that we function in a society that's like very, time is important. You got to keep time, because here's the deal. Like, in my first video, I said, the best way to govern is through fear. So let's fear the time line that we're on, that there's not enough time, or, you're late, or you're running early. Like, I don't think that there has to be yes, we got to follow the rhythms of the day and, what we've set ourselves up here for. But I take the pressure off my cleaners when they're driving on the roads. My clients know they have a 30-minute window that they'll arrive in from. And I let them know, that we don't have, like, I'll have to get into that later on the business thing, because I'm going to get back home soon, I think. And then I've got to get messages off to my team about where they stand with us. Sorry guys, I realized that I started this video to wrap up the interview. But I told myself, and I'm telling myself, that this is me in real time. Like, these are the things, like, when you're putting labels on your experience, when you're describing your experience through words, your brain is, really gets, the connections are like freaking firing all over the place, because you're trying to bring in the labels from what what you've been brought up with, what you've, done to describe, what you've used, the tool that you have used to describe your reality is going through all of the, the prefrontal cortex of your brain, and then you've got all the other parts of your brain that are firing off because you're trying to remember, and you're feeling, and you're going through the experience right now. Like, it's a lot. So it's hard to dictate, and so I can see why people edit their stuff, because they don't want inaccuracies going out about who they are and how they perceive the world. And so I'm just like, this is how it is, and I'm doing my best to explain it in the words that I've been given to use. Okay? So, okay, let me finish up the interview, and then I got to get back because I'm going to go do some music tonight. I hope. It'll be fun. I'm meeting some people for the first time. Trav mentioned that I'm a vocalist and could do harmonies, and so any chance I get to play with other skilled musicians is fun for me. So, okay, back to the interview. At this point, I'm just really kind of concerned for her. I knew that I had shown up for myself here, after my little I'm sitting alone moment at 11:11. And so I'm just like, okay, so what can we do? She had mentioned like meeting later in the evening, and there was that little bit of nudge in me that was kind of saying, like, if there was any way she could have let me know beforehand, that would have been nice, And so, but then, I was just trying to let her know what I was going through. So I wasn't putting anything on her, I just thought, what did I say? I was scrambling. Oh, it was crazy. Like, my head was just kind of going nuts because I was like going through like a little bit of the emotion. Like, now we have to like make another appointment and and it was like kind of a little chaotic moment. And she said she could meet in the evening. And then my thought of meeting with, these other musicians was like, that was like, I want, once that starts, I don't want to stop. So I'm not thinking I'm going to meet someone in the evening. I wanted that to be over today. But I was like in this moment of kind of going, well, still wanting to appease her, like, I'm sorry that she missed the interview. And like, I wanted to give her a chance to make sure that, she could still, be invited. She's still invited, and, but then I was like, no, cause I said, oh, we could meet tomorrow too. And then, I think at that point, I kind of read that she was probably, would have rather have met tomorrow, but was maybe disappointed that she had missed it. I don't know what was going on. She was just letting me know, and she told me that. That's what was cool. What's crazy about it is that she called when I said I'm sitting alone, and I thought about my mom sitting in the chair next to me. And when I got the interview, or when I online interviewed this gal, immediately she reminded me of my mom, and she has nearly the same name as my mom. And she mannerisms and everything was like my mom. It was crazy. And so, so she was calling me right in that moment of when I was saying I'm sitting alone. I remember that being distinct because I came out here and wanted to talk about my mom, and, right at 9/11. So I'll get into mom later, but that's it for the interview. Basically, we've rescheduled for tomorrow at some point. I don't know my schedule because I know I have something in the morning, but I just kind of go with it. It's not a huge urgency. So I told her I'd reach out to her, and we're going to meet tomorrow. I have some reservation about some things, but that's okay, So, all right. Here we do. We're living and being, or no, we're living and moving and having our being together. All right. Mwah.